Okay, so staying on top of the latest in AI, it feels like a full-time job, right?
Oh, absolutely. You blink and there's something new.
Exactly. Just when you think you've got a handle on things, boom, another uh, major announcement.
Mhm.
So for this deep dive, we really wanted to zero in on two big developments that, well, everyone seems to be talking about.
Right. We're looking at the upcoming Grok 3.5 from Elon Musk's XAI.
Yeah, and Alibaba's newly released Qwen3 models.
Quite the contrast there.
It really is. You shared some great articles, and our mission today really is to pull out the key insights
Understand what makes them different.
and why it all matters,
Yeah.
without getting totally bogged down in the super technical details.
Sounds good. And what's really striking, I think, is the timing.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, XAI teasing the Grok 3.5 beta for their Super Grok subscribers almost immediately after Alibaba launched Qwen3.
Right. It creates this immediate sort of head-to-head feeling, doesn't it?
It really does. It kind of highlights the very different paths being taken at the cutting edge of LLM development.
Absolutely. Feels like we're watching, I don't know, a real-time strategy game unfold.
Mm-hmm.
XAI is signaling, hey, this advanced beta is coming soon, but
But it's for our premium subscribers, the Super Grok tier.
exactly, more exclusive. Whereas Alibaba, they've gone much broader, haven't they?
Totally different approach. Qwen3 is a whole family of models, and crucially, they're open source.
And they put them right onto Hugging Face.
Yeah, which, as you probably know, is like the central hub for OpenAI models.
So right there, from the get-go, a massive difference in strategy, open versus closed.
And that choice, putting Qwen3 on Hugging Face, that's pretty significant.
Why do you see that?
It just immediately lowers the barrier for entry. Developers, researchers, anywhere in the world.
So you can just grab it and start working with it.
Exactly. And that can spark really rapid innovation, right? People contributing, fine-tuning.
Building on top of it for specific uses.
Yeah, maybe hitting niche areas that the big proprietary models might just overlook. Fosters that community effort.
Interesting point. Okay, let's switch gears slightly then. Let's dive into Grok 3.5 itself. What's the main promise there?
The big theme seems to be reasoning, a big step up in reasoning capabilities.
Okay.
XAI is really emphasizing its ability to tackle more complex tasks, talking about advanced cognitive capabilities.
And didn't Musk have a quote about it? Something quite grand.
He did. He called it the start of the age of reasoning agents.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a statement, setting the bar high.
Definitely. And it builds on Grok 3, which only came out in February, right?
Yeah, just a few months ago. So they're moving fast.
Very fast.
Mm.
But like we said, it's important to remember Grok 3.5 is part of XAI's own ecosystem.
Right, proprietary, a closed system.
It seems like the priority is peak reasoning performance for maybe a more select group.
Rather than just making it widely available for anyone to use.
Exactly. Which, being proprietary lets them control the integration, the user experience, perhaps more tightly at first.
True, but maybe. Does that limit its reach?
Well, you could argue that, yeah. It might limit the sheer breadth of applications compared to what you see with open source projects where the community jumps in.
That collaborative innovation makes sense. And there's something else. Oh, the memory feature for Grok. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, they're adding the ability for it to retain information across different sessions.
Which feels like a natural next step, doesn't it? Towards AI that actually remembers the context of your conversation.
Totally. It makes the interaction feel less like a series of one-off questions and more like a continuous dialogue.
Which you need for more complex problem solving.
Yeah.
Right? Or like a truly personalized assistant.
Precisely. Essential for that deeper level of interaction.
Now let's talk money for a second. XAI, that recent funding round, $6 billion.
Yeah, $6 billion. That's serious firepower.
What does that kind of cash injection signal, you think?
Well, it gives them huge resources, obviously, to speed up R&D, build out infrastructure.
Hire the best people?
Absolutely. And look who the money came from. U.S. venture capital, yes, but also chip makers like NVIDIA and AMD.
Oh, interesting. And sovereign wealth funds, too.
Yes, Saudi Arabia and Qatar were mentioned. It shows really broad interest and, frankly, very high expectations for what XAI might achieve.
And you need that kind of capital for the sheer compute power involved in training these massive models, right?
Oh, definitely. It's incredibly resource intensive.
And something else caught my eye. Microsoft is apparently testing XAI models.
Yeah, along with models from Meta and DeepSeek, according to reports.
Why would Microsoft, who obviously have a deep partnership with OpenAI, be looking elsewhere?
Diversification, most likely. It makes sense strategically.
Hedging their bets a bit?
Kind of. By evaluating different models, they get access to potentially different strengths, different capabilities. It reduces reliance on just one provider.
And maybe one model is better for task A, another for task B?
Exactly. Gives them options to deploy the best tool for the job, potentially optimizing for performance or even cost.
Okay, got it. That paints a pretty clear picture for Grok 3.5 and XAI strategy.
Mm.
Let's pivot fully now to Alibaba's Qwen3.
Right. And the big headline here, as we mentioned, is open source.
Definitely. But it's not just one model, is it?
No, it's a whole suite, a family of open source language models.
And the scale, pretty impressive.
Very impressive. Models going up to 235 billion parameters.
Oh, 235 billion, just
Yeah.
for context for you listening, that puts it up there with some of the largest, most powerful models available anywhere.
It really does. And they're also highlighting a huge context window, 128,000 tokens.
Okay, 128K tokens. What does that mean in practice?
It means Qwen3 can take in and sort of hold in its mind a very large amount of text at once.
So better for understanding long documents or keeping track of a really complex conversation.
Exactly. It should lead to more coherent, detailed responses, better context awareness.
And the training data, was that mentioned?
Yep, 36 trillion tokens. An enormous data set.
Which likely contributes to its broad knowledge base.
Absolutely. And its ability to handle lots of different tasks. Plus, and this is key, it supports 119 languages.
119. That is a major differentiator, especially compared to models primarily focused on English.
Huge focus on global applicability, multilingual support.
And again, putting it on Hugging Face just nails down that commitment to open access for developers everywhere.
It's such a clear contrast to the XAI approach. Very different philosophies at play.
So, summing up that contrast, Grok 3.5 seems laser-focused on pushing reasoning boundaries within its own walled garden.
Within that proprietary ecosystem. While Qwen3 is all about democratizing access, big scale, open source, and serving a massive multilingual audience.
So fundamentally, it really boils down to that philosophical split, doesn't it? Proprietary focused capability versus open source accessibility and breadth.
Precisely. And it feels like this is really cranking up the competition in the AI space.
You think so?
Yeah, and it reflects a bigger trend we're seeing. You've got the big commercial, often proprietary models, OpenAI, Google, Microsoft.
Usual suspects.
Right. And then you have this rise of powerful open source models, particularly from places like China, with Alibaba's Qwen3 being a prime example.
Often designed with maybe specific regional needs or languages in mind.
Exactly. Tailored in different ways. It creates this really fascinating dynamic who innovates faster. Where does adoption really take off?
Yeah, looking ahead, that seems to be the billion-dollar question, or maybe trillion-dollar question for the industry, right?
Yeah.
How do these paths play out?
Will the super optimized closed models always win on pure performance in specific areas?
Or will the power of the open source community lead to unexpected breakthroughs or just much wider use across tons of different applications?
And how do things like cost, access to computing power, how do those factors shape things? It's complex.
Definitely not a simple answer.
Yeah.
And it connects to those longer-term ambitions too, doesn't it?
For sure. I mean, you even hear Sam Altman from OpenAI hinting about future models, maybe GPT-5 or 6, potentially getting past human intelligence in certain areas.
Right, which just highlights how fast everything is moving. The potential is immense, but there's also maybe some uncertainty there too.
A lot to watch. It's an incredibly dynamic field right now.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive for everyone. We've got XAI announcing the Grok 3.5 beta coming soon for Super Grok users.
Pushing hard on advanced reasoning, keeping it within their closed ecosystem.
And right alongside that, Alibaba drops the Qwen3 suite.
Yep. Open source, impressive scale, huge context window, massive multilingual support, and out there on Hugging Face for the world to use.
These contrasting strategies really just perfectly illustrate the vibrant competitive AI race that's happening right now.
And hopefully for you listening in, this gives you a clearer sense of the different game plans being used to push LLM tech forward.
Yeah, it's not just about who has the biggest model anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's about fundamentally different visions for how AI gets built, how it gets shared, and ultimately how it gets used.
So maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. We've got these two distinct paths, the focused, perhaps more potent, but closed AI versus the open, widely accessible, multilingual AI. Which approach do you think will ultimately have the bigger, more transformative impact on our lives and our tech in the coming years?
Yeah, will it be the specialized power or the broad accessibility? Definitely something worth keeping a close eye on.